is Clifford Debattista, kindly joined us from our national agency, European Programs Agency, and he's going to be talking about the Erasmus cooperation programs, key action 2.
Morning, first of all, thanks for hosting me here today. As you already know, we'll be tackling Erasmus plus higher education. This information session will cover both centralized funds and decentralized funds. Decentralized funds are managed by the European Programs Agency, and centralized funds are managed directly by the Commission. We'll start off with some basic information about the sector. Basically, higher education with Erasmus Plus targets the following target audience: higher education students, higher education teachers and professors, staff of higher education institutions, as well as trainers and professionals within enterprises. This key action 1 basically was mobility of students and staff in higher education, supports physical and also mental mobility of students in many fields and cycles of higher education. Students have the opportunity to study abroad or higher education institution or as area of apprenticeship within enterprise abroad. They can also combine study periods with apprenticeship with obviously enhanced learning opportunities. Higher education also supports teaching and administrative staff as one knows. This offers the opportunity to take part in professional development activities abroad, as well as also work together with staff from foreign higher education institutions. And these activities may also consist of both teaching and also training periods, such as job shadowing, observations, and training courses abroad. Key action 1, higher education also supports blended intensive programs, which allow higher education institutions to join, develop, and develop blended mobility curriculum, which are obviously available for both students and staff, both academic and also administrative staff. The objectives of higher education is to continue to establish a European education area and also strengthen the link between education and research. So we'll have a look at students' objectives within the sector. Basically, foster employability, social inclusion, civic engagement, innovation, and environmental sustainability in Europe and beyond. Then we can also have a look at the objectives of the action, which are expose students to different views, knowledge, teaching, and research methods, develop their transversal skills, communication skills, so on and so forth, develop their forward-looking skills, digital and also green skills, which are being given a lot of importance by the European Commission, and also to facilitate their personal development, such as the ability to adapt to new situations and self-confidence. The objectives, which are directly aimed at staff, enable staff to share their experience, experience new teaching, acquire innovative pedagogical practices, exchange good practices, and other objectives. The overall objectives are to foster the development of transnational and transdisciplinary curricula, as well as innovative ways of teaching and learning, including also online collaboration, which is also part of the digital transformation, which is being emphasized upon by the Commission. Yes, please. So how can one access Erasmus mobility opportunities? All applicant organizations, including mobility consortia, must be based in a program country, meaning countries which are part of the European Union, okay? And such countries must always be in possession of the Erasmus Charter for Higher Education, ECHE in short, before applying, okay? Basically, the applicant organization submits an application, there's a selection process, and once the project is selected, both parties, the national agency and the higher education institution, sign the agreement, and obviously from the end of the higher education institution, the commission requests reporting about the project. Let's have a look at the tasks of different organizations involved in a project. We have a sending organization, mainly in charge of selecting participants, students, and staff, obviously, and sending them abroad. We have a receiving organization, which obviously is in charge of receiving participants, and also we have intermediary organizations, which are there to facilitate project management, maybe. Next, please. Higher education also supports mobility to third countries which are not associated to the program. The way how we define countries associated to the program and third countries not associated to the program is explained in further detail in the program guide, which I strongly suggest you to have a look for further detail. Basically, mobility to third countries gives opportunities to students and staff to have a further widened international experience, and also allows HEIs from program countries to establish long-term sustainable international cooperation. There's also up to 20% of funds allocated for this type of mobility. Let's have a look at the horizontal priorities, which are common to all sectors of the Erasmus. Yes.
Just go back a little bit.
Yes.
20% of what? Of the whole budget allocated to a country, or?
No, 20% of the budget requested by the HEI may be utilized for mobility to third countries not associated to the program.
Okay, but 20% of the funds for the whole mobility, for KH1 or?
For KH1
Okay.
So, as I was saying, horizontal priorities are common to all 5 sectors of Erasmus Plus, with no exception, obviously, to higher education. Yes, inclusion and diversity is a very sensitive topic, and the Commission is giving it a lot of importance. Basically, higher education institutions must ensure equal and equitable access of opportunities to all participants, both students and staff. Hence, this means including participants with fewer opportunities. The Commission suggests that there should be defining the internal selection procedures in place, and also inclusion officers which who can address or else look after addressing issues related to inclusion and diversity. Environmental sustainability and green practices. The Commission strongly suggests using environmental friendly practices, especially when it comes to sustainable means of transport, and also when organizing events, conferences, and meetings. And also, the Commission is also pushing towards replacing paper-based administrative processes by moving forward towards the European Student Card Initiative. Digitalization and digital skills. HEIs must connect to the Erasmus without paper network to exchange mobility data. They can also organize, they can use their organization support funds for the implementation of digital mobilities. Blended mobility should also be promoted, as well as AGIs are encouraged to raise awareness about digital skills. Let's have a look at the activities which are available. Student mobility, basically it's a study period abroad at a partner higher education institution as part of the degree of the student. Traineeship, it's a work placement or internship abroad in an enterprise or research institute. And also doctoral mobility available for doctoral candidates and recent graduates, postdoc, which can be undertaken as short or long-term physical study or mobility periods. We also have blended mobility. Basically, it's a combination of virtual and physical mobility. Blended intensive programs, short intensive programs that use innovative ways of teaching and learning, including also online cooperation and staff mobility. Basically, teaching period or training period abroad with the possibility of being blended too. Next, please. Activities international mobility towards involving third countries not associated to the program. Basically, there are two types: those which are supported by internal policy funds, and also those which are supported by external policy funds. Further information can be found from the program. Who can apply? Individuals, both students and staff, can approach the higher education institution, and the institution which must have the ECHE, the Charter for Higher Education, can apply. Obviously, it has to be based within a program country. With regards to higher education mobility consortium, which is unfortunately not so common, the coordinating organizations established in a program country and coordinating the consortium awarded with an Erasmus accreditation for higher mobility consortium. You have to be awarded an accreditation for a consortium. Student mobility for studies, 2 months up to 12 months. Obviously, the program country must have the ECHE. Student mobility for traineeship, also between 2 and 12 months duration. Mobility for studies and or traineeships for doctoral candidates between 5 to 30 days or 2 to 12 months. The total eligible duration per study cycle should be up to 12 months. Next, please. Staff mobility for teaching, and this mostly applies to the target audience over here. Between 2 days and 2 months, the sending organization must be a program HCI with the charter, or staff invited to teach at higher education institution. In case of mobility, receiving organization must also be awarded with the ECHE, the Charter for Higher Education, or else, if in case it is located within a partner country, it has to be recognized by local authorities. In case of mobility involving third countries not associated with the program, duration must be from 5 days to 2 months. Staff mobility for training between 2 days and 2 months. Basically, requirements are more or less to resembling those to staff mobility for teaching. Next, please. Blended intensive programs, as we already saw, these are short intensive programs. Also promoting innovative ways of teaching and learning, which also include the blended opportunity. Programs may include challenge-based learning, where transnational and transdisciplinary teams work together to tackle challenges faced. Blended intensive programs bring added value compared to existing courses. They offer the opportunity of combining both physical and virtual mobility, are applicable to all study fields and study cycles, and allow groups of higher education institutions to cooperate together. Blended intensive programs, these are developed and implemented by a minimum of 3 higher education institutions coming from 3 EU member states and third countries associated to the program. The HEI organization located in an EU member state, third country associated to the program, or third country not associated to the program may also participate. However, with regards to HEIs from partner countries, these may participate at their own cost. Minimum of 50 participants to be eligible for funding. Blended intensive programs, again, physical mobility from 5 days to 30 days of program duration. There is no eligibility criteria set for the duration of the virtual component, but at least the virtual combined virtual and physical mobility must award a minimum of 3 CTS credits for students. Erasmus accreditation for higher education mobility consortia. Basically, an organization from a program country may apply for on behalf of a mobile consortium of Erasmus Plus, and these accreditations are awarded by the national agency, and grant mobility projects will be awarded to HEIs, which obviously are successful during the selection process pertaining to the accreditation. So these are the funding rules, basically quite detailed about the costs. Organization support up to the 100 participants. One gets a 400 euro, beyond 100 at 230 euro per participant. There's also exceptional costs and expensive travel costs, as well as inclusion support up to 100 euro per participant. Duration of the project, mobility projects supported by internet policy funds may be 26 months long. Mobility projects for extended policy funds, 24 or 36 months. Applications with the national agency, and the deadline. There was one on the 23rd February. This is just to give you an idea of when the deadlines are due. Unfortunately, as you will know today, most of the deadlines have passed. But this serves to give you an idea of when upcoming deadlines will be. Next, please. Key action 2, partnerships for cooperation. This key action enables participating organizations to gain experience in international cooperation and to strengthen their capacities and produce high-quality innovative deliverables. Only cooperation partnerships are available because in other sectors there is the small-scale cooperation partnership, but for higher education, only cooperation partnerships are available. The priorities, once again, are inclusion and diversity, environmental fight against climate change, digital transformation, and common values, civic engagement, and participation. Next. Sector-specific priorities, promoting interconnected higher education systems, stimulating innovative learning and teaching practices, developing STEM and STEAM subjects in higher education, rewarding excellence in learning, teaching, and skills development, building inclusive higher education systems, and supporting digital capabilities of higher education sector. Specific objectives with regards to the cooperation projects or cooperation partnerships. These aim to increase the quality of work, activities, and practices of organizations and HEIs involved, capacity building of organizations to work transnationally and across sectors. These also aim to address common needs and priorities in fields of education, training, youth, and sport, and also they enable transformation and change. Next, please. The duration of cooperation partnerships is between 12, is either 12 or 36 months. These can be applied for with the national agency. There's a lump sum budgets. There are lump sum budgets established: 120,000 euros, 250,000, and 400,000. Please keep in mind that key action 2 is on a co-funded setup. Deadline for key action 2 is today. And usually also the deadlines for which you apply with the national agency are at 12 noon, but deadlines for which you apply with the directly with the commission are at 5 p.m. Yes?
Just one question. You're saying that the duration is 12 or 36 months. This means between 12 and 36
No,
months?
12 or 36. Either 12?
For the applications for the national agency?
Yes.
There's 24 months.
24 months.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, but it's 24 or 36.
Yes,
There
that's why I was-
three budgets. No, there are.
That's why I was like,
I'm sorry, I missed it. Is it necessary that the amount is connected with the number of months?
No.
For example, 120 is okay if we are implementing it for 24 months.
Yes, it's okay. The budget depends on the project.
Yes.
The budgets allocated by the commission fund part of the cooperation partnership. So strictly speaking, for example, if we take the lease budget, the project must be higher than 120,000 because it's on a co-funding setup.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just my colleague confused me last night. We were submitting today.
Okay.
It's the last hour we
Yeah.
were finishing, and she says, "But you have a project of 24 months with 120." I said, "Yes, is there a problem?" "No, it should be 12 months." "No, don't tell me that."
That's the maximum, as far as I know, the maximum.
That's the
You can
maximum.
affect this.
Yes.
No, budget limit is not
Yes, it's not.
by any chance related to the duration. Operation projects, number and profile of participating organizations, minimum of 3 organizations from 3 different EU member states and 10 countries associated with the program. There are obviously no maximum, but however, please keep in mind that the project has to be manageable. All participating organizations must be identified at the time of application. Cooperation partnerships target the cooperation between organizations established in EU member states and third countries associated to the program. Organizations from third countries not associated to the program can also be involved as long as their involvement brings about essential added value to the project. And also as long as the minimum participation indicated above is fulfilled. Centralized funds, Erasmus Plus teacher academies. So the overall objective of Erasmus Plus teacher academies is to create European partnership of teacher education and training providers to set up Erasmus Plus teacher academies, which will develop a European and international outlook in teacher education. Some specific objectives to contribute to the improvement of teacher education across Europe, including also reference to policies and practices, to enhance the European dimension and internationalization of teacher education. Next, please. To develop and test jointly different models of mobility, virtual, physical, and blended, in initial teacher education as part of the teacher's professional development. They also aim to develop sustainable collaboration between teacher education providers with an impact on the quality of teacher education in Europe. Yes. Who can apply and or participate? Organizations established in EU member states and third countries associated with programs may apply or participate as full partners. Teacher education institutions, colleges, institutes, and universities. Hence, that's why we're taking Erasmus plus teacher academies. Ministries, public, local, regional, or national authorities, private bodies, and other institutions responsible for developing policies with regards to teacher education. Next. Who can apply and participate? At least 3 full partners from a minimum of 3 different EU member states, including at least at least 3 full partners from a minimum of 3 EU member states and third countries associated with programs. At least 2 nationally recognized providers of initial teacher education from 2 different EU member states and third countries associated with programs, at least 1 nationally recognized provider of continuing professional development, and furthermore, partnerships may also include a school partner or associated partner, at least 1 practice or training school abroad. Any questions?
Yes, this year application form
Uh-huh.
doesn't have a place to put associated partner.
Doesn't have the place to
To put associated partner. There isn't such a place to name associated partner. It is the place, there is a place for regular project partner, but not associated. So the influence of that is in the section where you need to list activities. If you remember, yes, there is a venue. The second column is venue, and for venue, it can offer, I don't know, member countries of partners. It offers other. It offers virtual event, and it should offer the country of associate partner, but there's no possibility of that. That is the obstacle we're dealing with yesterday.
best when you have such queries, you try to address them. There's usually an email address of the person who is looking after such ones.
Yeah.
Because as an engineering agency, we are very limited on the information we can provide. We don't even we can access the application form,
Yes.
but we very rarely
Can intervene.
That's why. Even when we apply for projects like with the commission, there are so much limitations for what we can see even as a national agency. So we are very, very, very limited, unfortunately.
I know, it's just, I think the communication.
Yes.
To the ones
Yes,
that created this. Application form, which is not too much different from the previous.
Yes, I agree. From time to time, the commission holds information sessions. Up to now, they were always virtual, and they usually provide an email address whereby applicants can ask queries, sort of a help desk. But other than that, unfortunately, as an engineer, just we cannot. Okay, I think this one will be discussed. So, partnership may also include full partners or associated partners. Or other organizations with relevant expertise in teacher education and bodies providing standards, qualifications, or quality assurance with regards to teacher education. Project duration is of 3 years, as one may assume, since this is centralized funds, you need to apply directly with the European Commission. Deadline is 7 September at 5 p.m. So funding will be on a contribution to the actual cost. Maximum of the EU grant given per project is 1.5 million euros. In addition, financial contribution from the EU cannot exceed 80% of the eligible costs. grant awarded may be less than the amount requested. Erasmus Mundus action. So the overall perspective of Erasmus Mundus is to foster excellence and worldwide internationalization of higher education institutions via study programs available at master's course level, jointly delivered and jointly recognized by higher education institutions established in Europe and open to institutions from other countries in the world. There are two different lots. Lot 1, Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters, EMJM in short, and Lot 2, Erasmus Mundus Design Measures, EMDM in short. Let's have a look at the objectives of Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters, mainly to enhance the attractiveness and excellence of European higher education in the world and attract talent to Europe through a combination of institutional and academic cooperation and also individual mobility for students taking part in Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters with EU-funded scholarships for the best students applying. Number profile of participating organizations. Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters involves at least 3 good partner HEIs, fully recognized, meaning from 3 different countries, of which at least 2 of them must be EU member states or 10 countries associated with the programs. Eligible participants of Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters, students at master's level who have obtained first higher education degree or demonstrate a recognized equivalent level of learning according to national practices and standards, and also students. It's very important to know that students who have previously participated in Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters are not eligible to apply for a scholarship. So, the layout of Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters basically entails compulsory physical mobility for all enrolled students, both those students who have won a scholarship or not, consisting of a minimum of 2 study periods in 2 countries. At least one must be an EU member state. But please keep in mind that countries must be different from the country of residence of the student at enrollment stage. One should also keep in mind the geographically balanced selection of students, whereby not more than 10% of the total scholarships must go to the same nationality. Duration of the project is a fixed grant agreement of 74 months to finance at least 4 editions of the Erasmus Mundus Joint Masters, each lasting between 1 to 2 academic years. The first generation of enrolled students should not start studying later than the academic year following the year of selection of the proposal. One may apply with the European Education and Culture Agency, centralized funds, obviously. Deadline was on 16 February at 5 p.m. Please, expected impact on 3 levels: system level, institution level, and also on an individual level. The funding rules, once again, will be a contribution to the institutional costs for the implementation of the program. Maximum number of student scholarships will be awarded throughout the duration of the agreement, and the top-up intended to cover individual needs of students with disabilities. Further details, once again, may be obtained by referring to the program guide. Erasmus Mundus designs measure EMDM. The objectives to encourage the development of new, innovative, high-level integrated transnational study programs at master level. These design measures should involve Erasmus Mundus underrepresented EU member states, 3rd countries associated with programs, and institutions from these countries and/or thematic areas. Any higher education institution established in an EU member state, their country associated to the program, or their country not associated to the program may submit an application, with the exception of Belarus, which forms part of Region 2. The way countries are grouped is further described in detail in the program guide. Duration of the project, 15 months. One may apply with the European Education and Culture Agency, Culture Executive Agency, sorry. Deadline was 16 February at 5 p.m. Maximum of €5,000 per project. The expected impact deals with providing European and non-European AGIs with opportunities for developing new partnerships, improve the quality and foster innovation in programs at multi-level and supervision arrangements, increase internationalization and competitiveness of participating organizations, increase the attractiveness of the participating organizations towards talented students, and also to contribute to the internationalization policies of participating universities. Jean Monnet actions. Jean Monnet action in the field of higher education supports teaching and research in the field of EU studies worldwide. Basically, the objectives are to promote excellence in teaching and research in the field of European Union studies worldwide, to foster dialogue between academic world and society, to generate knowledge and insights in support of EU policy making and strengthening the role of European Union within Europe and in a globalized world. To reach out to the wider public and spread knowledge about EU to the wider society. Beyond academia and specialized audiences, hence bringing EU closer to the public. There are 3 forms of Jean Monnet action, mainly modules, which entail short teaching programs or courses offered at higher education institutions, chairs, which offer teaching posts with specialization in EU studies for university professors, and centers of excellence, which provide focal points of competences and knowledge on European Union subjects. Who can apply? Any higher education institution established in an EU member state or third country associated to the program, and also third countries not associated to the program can submit an application. There is also, once again, the exception of Belarus. Only one AGI established as described above required to submit an application. Individuals cannot apply directly for a grant. Eligible participant organizations, once again, AGI established in EU member states, third countries associated with programs, and third countries not associated with programs, with the exception of Belarus. AGIs established in EU member states must, and third countries, must be in possession of a valid ECHE. However, ECHE is not required in case of AGIs coming from third countries not associated with the program. Project duration is 3 years. Once again, one may apply with the European Education and Culture Executive Agency. Deadline was 1st March at 5 p.m. So, expected impact of Jean Monnet actions. There are 2 types, quantitative and qualitative. With regards to the quantitative aspect, increasing the number of higher education institutions, enhancing European dimension of disciplines tackled, and also an increase in number of European Union subjects introduced in the teaching and research faculties or departments where the EU language is not usually explored. qualitative aspect with regards to the participants directly enforcing the actions to promote democracy and the sense of belonging to the common area. Increased interest in deepening the knowledge of the European Union's specific policies, and also an increase in opportunities for young researchers to enhance their professional competences and also boosting their ability. With regards to the participating organizations, this time the qualitative impact deals with increasing the capacity of higher education institutions to teach European subjects, attract more and new learners and teachers interested in developing their knowledge about the European Union, and also to create structured centers providing European Union specific high-level knowledge and advanced research for faculties and departments requiring support in this area. The budget is a maximum of 30,000 euros for Jean Monnet modules. For Jean Monnet chairs, it's 50,000, and Jean Monnet Centers of Excellence is 100,000 euros. Capacity building in the field of higher education. So, this section supports the international cooperation projects based on multilateral partnerships between organizations active in the field of higher education. It supports the relevance, quality, and modernization together with responsiveness of higher education in third countries not associated with the program for social economic recovery, growth, and prosperity. Other recent trends, for example, economic globalization, recent decline in human development, and also inequality, economic and governmental inequalities exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic are also taken into consideration. The action, capacity building in higher education, is expected to contribute to the overarching priorities of the European Commission, mainly the Green Deal, environment and fight against climate change, the digital transformation and data technologies, which, as I already explained earlier, is being given a lot of importance by the European Commission, and also sustainable growth and jobs, migration, peace and security, and to the extended dimension of EU internal policies in the field of education. It will support also successful green and sustainable global economic recovery in third countries not associated with the program. Obviously, everything in sync with the Sustainable Development Goals and the Paris Agreement. Activities and outcomes of capacity building for higher education must be geared to benefit the eligible third countries not associated with the programs, their higher education institutions and systems. Objectives: capacity building in higher education aims to improve the quality of higher education in third countries not associated with the program, and also enhance its relevance to the labor market and society, improve the level of competences, skills, and employability of students in HEIs in the third countries not associated to the programs. This is done by developing new and innovative programs, educational programs, and also to promote inclusive education, equality, equity, together with non-discrimination, in third countries not associated to the program. It also aims to enhance teaching assessment mechanisms for HEI staff and students, together with quality assurance, and also it aims to increase the capacities of higher education institutions, bodies in charge of higher education, and competent authorities to modernize their higher education systems, particularly government and financing, and also this is done through supporting the definition, implementation, and monitoring of reform processes. They also aim to improve the training of teachers and provide continuous professional development in order to impact the longer-term quality of the education systems in their countries not associated with the program. They also aim to stimulate the cooperation of institutions, capacity building, obviously, and exchange of good practices. And they also aim to foster cooperation across different regions in the world. Some geographical targets, which one is to keep in mind, capacity building and higher education can be implemented as national projects, meaning projects involving institutions from only one eligible third country not associated with the program, or else on a multi-country level, whereby we have projects within one single region, and or else multi-country projects involving more than one region and involving at least one country from each eligible region. Obviously, further information can be obtained from the guide because otherwise this session would be never ending. We have project strength also with regards to capacity building and higher education. There are three main strengths in order to respond to various challenges in the third countries not associated with programs. Capacity building has three specific strands. So, strand one aims at fostering access to cooperation in higher education. Basically, this strand number one, is designed to attract less experienced higher education institutions and small-scale actors to the capacity building of higher education to facilitate access to newcomer organizations and also to reduce internationalization gap among higher education institutions. Strand number two focuses on partnerships for transformation in higher education. Basically, projects falling within this strand must address the different state of advancement and challenges of AGIs located in eligible third countries not associated with the program. They should also introduce new approaches and initiatives in higher education based on peer learning and transfer of experience and good practices. Finally, the last strand number three, focuses on structural reform projects, whereby project under this strand must support efforts in third countries not associated with the Erasmus program to develop coherent and sustainable systems of higher education, with the aim of meeting their social economic needs and broader vision to create a knowledge-driven economy. Who can apply strand one and strand two AGIs, associations and organizations established in an EU member state or third country associated with the program, or an eligible third country not associated with the Erasmus Plus program. The applicant institution applies on behalf of all participating organizations. One has to keep in mind that Belarus, Syria, and Russian Federation cannot act as applicants, as established, as explained in the guide. Strand 3, legally recognized national or international rector, teacher, or student organizations established in a new member state or third country associated with the Erasmus Plus program, or in an eligible third country not associated with the program. Once again, Belarus, Syria, and Russian Federation cannot apply. Types of organizations eligible to participate in the project and number profile of participating organizations. For further information, I suggest that you refer to the program guide, which has full details explained. Duration of strand 1 and strand 2 projects can last 24 or 36 months. Strand 3 projects can last between 36 and 48 months. Sorry. One has to apply with the European Executive Education and Culture Agency. Deadline was on the 17th February at 5 p.m. So budgeting, the EU grant per project is as follows. Stand 1 between 200,000 and 400,000 per project. Stand 2 between 400,000 and 800,000 euros per project. Stand 3 structural reform projects between 800,000 and 1 million euros per project. Virtual exchanges and higher education. Basically, these projects consist of online people-to-people activities that promote intercultural dialogue and soft skills development. They make it possible for every young person to access high-quality international cross-cultural education, both formal and non-formal, without physical mobility. Objectives: encouraging intercultural dialogue with third countries not associated with the program and increasing tolerance to online people-to-people interactions, building on digital youth-friendly technologies. Promoting various types of virtual exchanges as a complement to Erasmus Plus physical mobility, allowing more young people to benefit from intercultural and international experience. Over here, we just came across the involvement of young people. Why? Because virtual exchanges in Erasmus Plus are also available to the youth sector, and that's why we have this objective over here. Enhancing critical thinking and media literacy, particularly in the use of internet and social media, such as to counter discrimination and violent radicalization. Next. Another objective of virtual exchanges in higher education is to foster the digital and soft skills development of students, young people, youth workers, promoting citizenship and the common values of freedom, tolerance, and non-discrimination, and to strengthen the dimension in relation to EU with third countries. So, Erasmus Plus virtual exchanges in higher education are of a more bottom-up initiative, whereby in this work participating organizations are free to choose the topics on which they would like to focus. However, the proposals have to be convincingly demonstrate their experience impact in relation to one or more of the above mentioned subjects. Objectives. Gender aspects should also be taken into consideration, and also special attention needs to be given to the inclusion of socially and economically vulnerable persons. This also refers back to the inclusion and diversity priority, which just mentioned throughout this session. So activities may be online facilitated discussions between students of higher education institutions based in different countries as part of the higher education degree. Training for university professors or staff willing to develop a virtual exchange with colleagues from other countries, and also interactive open online discussions, including traditional course materials, such as MOOCs. Next. Who can apply? Public or private organizations active in the field of higher education institutions, higher education institutions, associations, or organizations of higher education institutions, as well as legally recognized national or international rector teacher organizations. The organizations apply on behalf of all participating organizations involved in the project and must be legally established and located in an EU member state or third country associated with the program. Participating organizations must be established in an EU member state or third country associated with the program, or else established in an eligible third country not associated with the program. However, this is only applicable to region 1, 2, 3, 4, and 9. Higher education institutions, associations or organizations of higher education institutions, as well as legally recognized national or international teacher possibilities. Organizations may also participate and also factors of change in the education system. Mainly referring to university managers, international departments, deans, and quality agencies. Other entities may participate in the consortium roles, such as board associated parties. So, proposals must be submitted by a consortium of at least 4 organizations. Consortia must be the following conditions: minimum of 2 higher education institutions from 2 EU member states and third countries associated with the program, and 2 higher education institutions from 2 eligible third countries not associated to the program. Except in the case of projects with Russia, which will only contain Russia as a third country, not associated to the program. Number of organizations from EU member states and third countries associated to the program may not be higher than the number of organizations from third countries not associated to the programs, so there must be a balance. In the case of Sub-Saharan Africa, involve participants from a wide range of countries in their proposal, including least developed countries and or partners that have less experience in Erasmus. Other important information: project durations of 3 years. One may apply also with the European Education and Culture Executive Agency. Deadline is 20th September at 5 p.m. The budget for virtual exchanges in higher education will be of a maximum of 500,000 euros, with 200 euros as maximum investment per participant. Grant awarded may be lower than the amount invested. So that's it. Any questions so far? Was full of information and good man. Very limited time, at least we managed to cover the basics of every type of fund available for higher education. In case of any queries for this session, I strongly suggest that you forward them either to NG or the team organizing, and also kindly refer to the program guide for further details.
Thank you so much. Very comprehensive, not the way
Hope you managed to understand everything, because
but to put all these programs in one presentation was a big challenge.
we are very limited in terms of the information we can provide on centralized funds.
Yeah, that's something.
I also encourage you to keep an eye open, because from time to time the Commission organizes online info sessions, at least now they are online, about centralized funds. And they do provide some presentations also, but obviously we wouldn't know when these will be having. So basically,
Is there any like mailing list to subscribe to?
I don't know exactly.
I subscribe, but I don't get anything.
You don't get no.
Sometimes we get them.
Sometimes even
Sometimes we get them. We get them, and we try to publish them on our social media, because we get information since we are in contact with the Commission.
Okay.